Welcome to Stars Podcast. Through self-defense, mixed martial arts, nutrition, family, and all things in between, we share our journey of how we hack our mind and body to get the maximum return out of each day. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the journey. All right, cool. Hey guys, welcome back. Stars Podcast here. Ron Jordan coming at you. Have a special guest with us today. If you are any familiarity with the BJJ community, you know this guy. For those of you who don't, he's the CEO of Finishers Enterprises. He's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu under Eddie Bravo, and leading the charge over there at 10th Planet Bethlehem, Zach Maslany.
Yes, sir. What's up, guys?
Yes,
how you doing?
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for being flexible with your time. We went back and forth, 24 times.
Yeah, one of us, something always happens. That's how it kind of goes.
Yeah, well, with all this COVID stuff, anytime something happens with work and I have to go somewhere again, I jump on it because I don't go anywhere.
Yeah, so you got to take advantage when you can. Same thing with us, man. Like we had a couple Fridays where there's either family stuff or where all of a sudden we're just traveling all over the place. So, and then when stuff comes up, you got to jump on it,
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys have a heck of a week. Not only the holiday, but two of your fighters are going to be on this weekend.
Yep, this weekend. JM's competing on Sunday. So he's going to get through the holidays and everything. And then, which is always a hard part when you're about to compete and you have to cut weight, or luckily for this one, he doesn't have to really cut. So he can drink water and eat stuff, but just can't go crazy. Can't be eating like 9 helpings.
All within reason this week.
Yeah. So, and then he's going to compete. Him and Preet, one of our guys, are flying out on Friday morning, I think. So it's like, boom, he's out Mexico, and then he's going to be competing in the combat jiu-jitsu. And we know a bunch of guys that are in that too. So that's going to be really cool. And then it's like it's another week, I think, or two. And then December 11th, Grace and Thor both be competing in the tournament's called Who's Number One. I guess it was pretty big in wrestling. Like in like amateur wrestling and like college wrestling, they'd have like a thing where like maybe guys that were retired or weren't in college anymore and they still wanted to wrestle, and it would be like, who's the best guy, and then it would put up different wrestlers against each other. So
nice.
I think converted it over to the jiu-jitsu community. So now they're big on the rankings through Flow Grappling. Like they do like the rankings of who's the best at what weight, and then they just have like some of the guys in the top 5 or top 10 face each other off in Who's Number One, which is pretty cool. So
that is a cool format, and the ranking system always gives some credence to that competitive nature of everybody. Yeah, and some animosity of what number you are.
Yeah, it pisses people off. It gives people something to post about. It gives some people stuff to boast about. Like, oh, like look at me, I'm number 1 or number 2, and then also too, it's like people who are fans can get into it more that just train on the regular, because it's like sports. Like so many people are into the NFL and like keeping statistics and all this stuff. Same thing. Now you're like, oh man, look at Grace's number 2 or Thor's number 7 now. Like that's bullshit. He should be higher or whatever. And everybody's talking about it. So it's annoying because it's like, who makes these rankings anyway? Some blogger. But it's also cool in the fact that like if you're mentioned on there, you're like, wow. Or like one of your students on there, you're like, that's pretty cool. Like people recognize her as being really good,
Oh, of course. Yeah, if you watch any of the jiu-jitsu competitions that she's involved in, I mean, she cleans up. She's undefeated?
Well, yeah, I mean, she lost some matches. We had just like any other kid or any other competitor coming up, she did lose some matches when she was a kid. But now the great if you're into Grace lore, she is undefeated since she was 12. She hasn't lost a match. So. And that's true. That's not BS. Like I can remember the last time she got, it was a good fight. She was 12 years old, and she had a match that was like, it ended up being like an overtime back and forth match with a boy that was like 13 or 14, and she was 12, and it was like a 15-minute match back and forth, and then she eventually won by submission. And then she was like changing, and they were like, hey, do you want to do another match? and some girl took her down and like got her in an arm bar, and like that pissed her off. And then since then, like she did it, like it wasn't even like a setup match that she lost. It was kind of like a, hey, do one more, you know? And
Yeah.
all right, I'll do one more after I just went to war with some like Russian kid, you know, like,
That's 2 years older than me.
yeah.
And
And then she does another match. Now I'm not, she lost, so it's whatever. But I mean, and then she got beat, you know, before that, like, you know, she fought some boys and she fought some girls. She lose by points or whatever. And, you know, that's a cool thing. Me and JM would always figure out with her, like, what, you know, what can we add, or what can we help fix, or what can we like change about, you know, not just change, but just add to her repertoire, if you will, on what she's gonna, you know, how she can beat some of these situations. Makes you
Mhm.
think, like it's more of a strategy. Like, how can we beat a person who's bigger than you, as opposed to just going in and winging it, you know? But
Yeah.
yeah, she hasn't lost really. She hasn't lost a match since then. She's been in some tight spots, and she did when we were in Japan. She had 2 draws against, you know, really top competitors, and you know, because it's submission only, and if you lose, it's a draw. But if there was an overtime rounds, where there was going to be a definitive winner, or if there was a if it was by points or judges' decisions, she's won all those since 12. So someone came up with stats and said she's like 34-0-2. Like, I don't know how accurate that is, but sounds right.
Yeah. Sounds like a good fan, that's for sure. So whenever you're coaching, or not even so much when you're coaching, but the importance of a coach for an athlete, you know, what are you approaching your students with as far as your competition team about being coached or being open to being coached? Because some people are very coachable, others are not, and both can be successful for sure. But you as a coach, what are you saying to your athletes to keep them involved in learning the process?
Good question. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. You're right. Some people are very coachable. Some people just are not. Like, they could be right in front of you every day, and you're telling them exactly what to do, and they're just going to do something different. You know. But that's the thing. Like, you know, I have read some books, and just over the years learning from, you know, other coaches, and you know, like even just watching NFL coaches and stuff like that, and just seeing how, you know, some guys who are player coaches, where they're like, hey, you know, I'm going to be real cool with all the guys, and like I'm like their buddy. I also train with them, you know, and I'm not going to be too hard on them. And then other guys would be like a dictator and come in and demand things. And you know, some people thrive under situations like that. Like, I could see guys that wrestled or played college football or something like that, when they come into us, or that if they were in the military, like they want it to be disciplined. They're like, that's their thing. They want me to be like yelling at them and be like, do another one or whatever. And but some people are just like way more laid back. Maybe they didn't wrestle and they just are doing this for fun, you know. So they're in there with super competitive guys too. And those guys just, they want to compete too, but they don't want to be, you know, they want to be pushed hard, and they want to be told, you know, what to do, but they don't want to be, you know, you know, I don't want to have to be like screaming at guys, you know. They got to want to do it. That's the cool thing about jiu-jitsu. You really, and martial arts, I feel like you got to really want to do it. So I think, you know, all of us that coach, me, JM, Thor, all the guys at the school that are like, you know, even Sid and Renee that are helping coach the younger guys, and I'm coaching them. It's just like everybody's different, you know. Everybody is, you know, some guys can't say anything, you know, crazy, or they're going to be upset. They're in their own head. Some guys, you got to constantly tell them they're doing good. You know, some guys just, you know, they want to be left alone. Like, it's crazy. You know, everybody's different. Everybody really is different, you know? So,
And that is a very, very good point too, because everybody is different, unique in the way that they are motivated. How do you go about fostering the, like, because you know all the cues from your athletes, like this guy needs to be pushed, or this one needs to be a little bit more laid back. I need to approach them different. How do you establish that relationship with them? Because I mean, they're usually bred in your gym, so I assume that there's a long-standing relationship with most of your athletes.
yeah. I mean, most, like me, and we say this all the time, like the guys who are really doing good, and it's no secret, those are the guys who train consistently, but with me and JM and Thor and the best guys, you know. Like, there are other guys that, and not that my other coaches aren't good, but sometimes the guys will come in and they, you know, they'll even dodge the harder roles, or they won't really be there for me to even coach them if I wanted to. You know, like some guys want to be coached, but they're not right in front of me, you know. And you know, the other guys are doing great teaching class, but it's kind of like once someone gives himself up to us is when we can really start to get to work. Once they're like, okay, like, coach, what should I do? And there's so many guys. Like, I don't even like being called coach anyways. But some of the guys you could tell, like maybe they did, they wrestled in college. So they'll be like, yo, coach, or whatever. They'll be like, hey, sir, boss, or whatever. And I'm just like, just call me Zach, So I really have a laid back approach, but like certain guys, like I know I have to be like, come on, man, let's go. Like you could have beat that guy, or you could do this, or, you know what I mean? You just got to get out of your own head or whatever. And then other guys, it's just, I can see they're on a certain trajectory going up, and I just got to keep, hey man, you're doing great, dude. You should work on this. Hey, dude, like I have a couple guys that want to fight MMA, and a lot of the guys in MMA, they don't want to really listen to you, and they want to train their own way, and they know their own thing. They know, I don't just tell me to move or whatever. They don't give a shit about anything else. They just want you to tell them, but they don't even want to, be involved in philosophy or coaching or anything like that. They're just going to do their own workouts. They're just using the gym for whatever. But then we got other guys, like we got Ryan Appleby and Artis. Artis is like, he's killing it. And we got Bryant, a bunch of guys that really want to fight. Jamie, he's another one that really want to fight MMA. And they just like, they're like so easy to work with. They're in there like, hey, coach, what should I do? Or, yo, should I be working my, there's a difference between asking too many questions, like where you're not ever there. Like if you just show up once in a while and you're like, hey, how do I stop guard passing? I'm like, dude, I don't know. But if you're
where have you been for 6 weeks?
Exactly. But what I'm saying is that's exactly what it leads me back to. If you're there with me and JM and the other coaches all the time, it's going to be easy for us to work with you. It's going to be easy for us to be like, hey, man, you know what you need to work on? And then they're like, whoa, like he came up to me and said something, like, because you're there with me. So I look at you, I roll with you 2-3 months of me training with you every day. And then I can go, hey, you know what you should work on right now? You should really get good at, this. And sometimes not even move. Sometimes it's like, hey, man, you should really look into lifting weights, man. If you get stronger or if you get more flexible or, you get your diet on point, like I see guys eat like shit. I'm like, if you really want to get good, and you really want to make a move, you got to change this. And then it's easy because they're there, so like Artists the other day, me and him were like watching, we got the TV out and, I'm watching UFC fights for them. Like, check out this Gunnar Nelson versus Damian Maia fight. Like, he's doing great with the stand up, working with the other coaches and himself teaching. And me and him are like working on tape, but like, I can only be there at certain times. I can't be there all day, every day, like I used to. I have a family and stuff. So you got to be there when I'm there. That's just the way it is. People are like, oh, you should teach a class at 7 a.m. I'm like, you should teach a class at 7 a.m., dude. You know what I mean? I got to do my own workouts and stuff too. And then, I'm in here at the school these same times every week generally. And then the kids that want to work with me, they're there every day. The adults that want to work with me, they're there. And then, the guys will hit my class. They'll go to JM's class. They'll work with this guy. They train strength and conditioning with this other dude. And that's how you got to do it. But if I'm seeing you all the time, it's going to be easy. Like Grace, dude, I know every move that Grace does. I know Thor's game like my own game, even better. I'm like, he's going to do this or he's going to do that because I see him all the time. I'm there with them. I'm training with them. We're working on stuff together. Like I'm learning from them. I'm learning so much from those guys too. So like if we work together, then it's cool. But if you're like there once in a blue or whatever, like I can't even really coach you. So I'm really.
So do you get it? Do you get a lot of people asking you to give them pointers whenever they haven't been around? Do people really have the balls to do that?
Yeah, not really. Most of the time, it's like new guys who don't really know most of the time, it's like newer guys that are like and it's not their fault. They're just so pumped to train that there might be like 195-pound, like jacked beginner that comes up to me like after I've rolled 5 rounds, be like, hey man, can you roll with me for like 15 minutes and like, tell me everything I need to work on? And I'm like, dude, are you even signed up here? Like, what are you doing? Like, just give it a couple months, man. I can't even tell you what to do yet. Like, one time, this is a funny story. One time I was at a local MMA fight before they got shut down out here. It was at a casino. And, I was like I might have been like a purple belt or something, but people already knew our school is like a, jiu-jitsu heavy school. And we're like, killing and on the scene or whatever. And a guy came up to me I won't even name what team, but a guy came up to me and he's like, hey man, you're a jiu-jitsu guy, right? I'm like, you're like, he said to me, he goes, you're the jiu-jitsu guy, right? I'm like, I am a jiu-jitsu guy. I'm like, I don't know what that means really, because it's kind of weird when people say something to you like that.
You're the guy.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know. And I was looking at my partner, and he was like looking at me like, and the guy was like, dude, I'm about to fight in 3 more fights. Would you mind coaching me? And I was like, I don't know. He's like, I need a jiu-jitsu coach, man. I need a guy in my corner. I'm like, well, I don't know, man. I really haven't worked with you. Like, I don't really know, like, your game. You know, the things I'm going to be yelling out, it's going to sound like I'm speaking, Chinese to you. You're not going to understand. And he was like, all right, well, it doesn't matter because, I just bang anyways, man. I just throw down. So I'm probably not even going to need it. But if you could just be there for support or whatever. So I was like, oh, I don't know, man. All right. And then I kind of agreed to it, but not really. And then when he was about to go out, I like hid in the one locker room, and I just didn't go out with him because no disrespect, buddy, but I don't want to. It's not that's my reputation. I'm out there watching this guy get like rear naked choked or something like that, and
Yeah, then
that's
you're in the corner.
yeah, and the people are like, dude, what's up? Like, that's not me, it's not my
Yeah.
guy. But so what happened was he went out there, and I watched it. Once he went out, I walked over and watched what happened, and the guy, they both went out there and he was looking like he wanted to stand up the whole time. And the guy hit him with a jab and then he shot for a takedown, even though he told me he would never go for a takedown because he's just going to stand and bang anyway. So
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu. So he ate one jab to the nose, shot for a takedown, and the guy guillotined him. He got him in a guillotine, rolled him over, and the guy went to mount, and he almost went to sleep. So I was like, that's what I'm saying. My new thing is I just have to go with my gut. Usually when I change, I'm like, and I'm like shifting. It's like, no, just don't do it. You know what I mean? I just got to learn my lesson in that and just stick with my gut on most things. And that was a gut reaction. And I was like, how can I even coach him, man? I wouldn't know what to tell you. I wouldn't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Have you had that situation go wrong where you went with your gut?
Not honestly, I was thinking about that because I was going to talk about this on, my own podcast. I try to do like a dropping knowledge thing, like I stole from but I'm trying to think about that, like just personal experiences. I'm like, man, most of the time when I go off, my first initial reaction, like even if I'm like quick to the gun and then I will pull back, which I do all the time and be like, all right, hold on. I might've jumped the gun on that one. Let me just see what is really going on. And then, but that's the thing. I think I'm like analytical where like I'll really try to look into all avenues and then be like, okay, damn it. Like I might be mad at the situation, but I realize like, okay, I was right. Just go with what I thought. And hopefully it works out, but so far it usually does sometimes. But like I said, sometimes I like, wait a minute, like maybe I shouldn't just say that out loud because people are going to get pissed.
Yeah, I've listened to a few of your podcasts and yeah, you're not afraid to say what you think.
Yeah.
I like that. You talk about a genuine personality and we talk about this all the time. It's like, when you are your genuine self, you attract people that are very similar to that. They're genuine to who they are. They're not exactly like you. They're comfortable with who they are, and you start attracting those type of people. It's really neat. But to go back a little bit further, have you always been into combat sports?
Yeah, I started, it's weird. Like I didn't really, when I was a young kid, like I really didn't care much about it. I cared more about sports, other sport like ball sports, like, cause I think my brothers were super into it. And, I just TV, I watched basketballs. Like,
So are you the youngest or middle in your?
I'm in the middle of I'm like in the middle. So I have like a younger brother and a younger sister, and then I have older brothers and sisters too. So,
Okay.
But what's funny is like, back then it was all about ball sports, but those sports, I feel like it was the heyday of actual ball sports. If you think about it, like Wayne Gretzky, Brett Favre, like Troy Aikman, like the NFL guys are like, there's a million dudes that people don't even watch sports, but they know about John Elway and Montana. And then basketball is like Michael Jordan and like, come on, you know what I mean? The guys that they had were insane and everybody was so competitive. Now I saw it towards I don't watch any ball sports anymore. I'm totally turned off by the way the athletes act. Because back then dudes would have never took off they would have never like took a class, that Michael Jordan would have been like taken off. What the hell are you talking about? We're playing, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. That's the point of sports, and then I'm all getting involved in it too. Even rappers pisses me off, like getting involved in stuff sometimes. And I'm just like, you guys really are speaking to a crowd of people that are not like you. You're completely different. And that's what makes me mad. I don't mind saying it, but the sports, I always was into like but it was so now the players, I just can't stand the players. And
I've heard something. Yeah, I heard something that was interesting to me because I go back and forth as to whether or not you use your platform as a celebrity to get into certain things. And from an art perspective, you want to talk about movies, music in particular. Those are two things that we should all be able to enjoy no matter what we sort of believe in. And
Exactly.
that's a point of contention for some people. Do they use that platform as their platform to increase their own agenda, or what is it?
Yeah. And I think
Tough.
to the point, it's those people, it'd be one thing if they actually did the research or they were saying, you know, here's from my perspective, but understand I live in a $5 million home. I have three of those. I have all these cars. So when I'm telling you guys to do something, I'm saying what I think from my perspective is right. But no one ever gives any context. They just, LeBron James, will say some crazy outlandish thing and little kids follow him,
Yeah.
little kids follow him. So with zero basis and zero fact, he'll go out there and say one of the craziest shits ever. Like Lil Wayne is more sane than LeBron
Dude,
James.
you know
Lil
what
Wayne
I
has
say
more
about LeBron
perspective
all the time
than
is,
LeBron James.
so LeBron James is the spokesperson for Sprite,
Yeah.
which is high sugar, high calorie drink, to a population that has issues with diabetes.
Right. Exactly.
I'm like, how does that even make sense from a platform standpoint?
Yeah, and we know that now. Like maybe years ago, we didn't really realize as bad as shit is, and now everyone just knows. It's
No
no.
secret.
Yeah, people know what's up. So that kind of makes me mad. Like he
Yeah,
doesn't
for
really,
sure.
guys like that won't really, the players aren't really, putting any context to it. Some of those guys maybe they're from that, but they don't. Maybe they're from like a bad situation, but now just they're so even all the politicians, it's crazy. Like they're telling everybody what to do, and they're
Hmm.
all into, they're all doing exactly what they tell you not to do. So but that's the thing. When I was younger, to take it back, when I was younger, I loved all those sports. So I was already into athletics, but I never made the team like outright. Like I was always like, oh, you're on the team, kind of, but you wouldn't have made it. Like I played, but I was good at backyard sports. Like I was good at playing like baseball, backyard, or football or whatever. But I never really played the team. And my parents wouldn't always let me. They let me play baseball, but they didn't want me to play football. And I kind of tried to do it behind their back. And when I moved to my dad's, he was always into martial arts, but his parents never let him train martial arts, and they made him quit playing sports when he was a kid. So my younger brother might have got beat up on the bus, and he wanted to he was into Power Rangers, so my dad put us in karate, Chuck Norris. And then once we started doing karate, I kind of got opened up to a whole realm of guys and like people I've never heard of, like Royce Gracie and Ken Shamrock, and all these, once you start watching UFC and then you're watching kickboxing, and I even know all the old kickboxers like Don the Dragon Wilson, and and then you watch. My dad loved Van Damme and Seagal and all those guys, so.
Hmm.
I got into it from there, and then I kept every year I would get heavier into the fighting aspect of it because it was so real and farther away from the football part, or the just let's get together and I'll drink on Sundays or whatever. And I used to do all that shit too, so I kind of got more into the lifestyle also of combat sports. I was more attracted to that lifestyle and that persona, I guess you could say. Then I did the guy who was playing like, baseball. I'm like, I don't really have anything in common with this guy, so I started going towards the other route, deeper down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. And then were you training then too?
I started when I was four. I started karate when I was 14, like
Okay.
karate when I was 14. And then karate, by the time I was 16, they changed to Tiger Schulman's, which was a lot more MMA heavy, and they did kickboxing to the head. And
And where was this at?
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a Tiger Schulman's out here. Shout out to Sensei V. He's my original sensei. He's the one who like got me in it. He was already a third degree black belt in Taekwondo. And he even at a later age, like up in his later 30s, early 40s, did grappling tournaments because we didn't even know about him. We didn't even know. And then Master Glacier Karate turned to Tiger Schulman's, and then we, went from there, and it just kept changing. It was karate. We used to break boards and stuff, and then it was like, okay, no more board breaking. We're doing kickboxing. And a lot of people quit, but then a lot of people are like, oh, this is interesting. You
Hmm.
know, Instead of doing forms, they added grappling. They took away weapons. And then it was like kickboxing and then drills and then beginner class where you're just punching the air, hitting the pads, and you turn into a good fighter, pretty good fighter. They put out a lot of good guys, a lot of people in UFC, so
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. I kept going down the path, but like we were just missing like legit like jiu-jitsu. Like I really got turned on to jiu-jitsu because I started doing fights. And when I was like 18, I started doing MMA fights and like, open hand strikes and stuff, weird stuff like that, kickboxing, boxing. And then I got choked unconscious once in an MMA fight. It was called NHB at the time. And then I was like, what the hell? And then I met a couple of jiu-jitsu guys locally that like and the only way you could train jiu-jitsu locally is if you went to Henzo's in the city. You'd have to drive the city. And I knew a couple guys that did. And then eventually I tried to train with them. And like my mind was blown when I saw like the power of like moves. And I was always a smaller guy. And I was like, dude, this is crazy. And you just keep going deeper and deeper. And then you find Eddie Bravo. And then, just could get crazy. Depends how far you want to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so your whole entire jiu-jitsu career started off by being choked out.
Yeah. We already were doing grappling. We already were grappling.
Okay.
But they didn't really show you a lot of moves. It was most just ground and pound, like get in the guard and punch the guy. And like, I was probably the most expanded between me and a guy named Elvis Garcia, and then my buddy Jim Garzillo, and then another guy, John Robinson. Those guys were like, we were into jiu-jitsu already. We were watching Ken Shamrock throw leg locks. We were watching Sakuraba throw Kimuras. Like we saw moves, but we never just trained it like how, and knew the like breakdowns. Like, and the guy that I lost to in my second fight, the guy that I lost to was, I think I was 19. It was like 2004 or 2003. And in his corner that night was John Donner. There's
no way.
Yeah. So the guy, I had Tiger Showman and his brother and my sensei, and they were, dude, I was putting work on this guy standing up, like I was hitting him and stuff, but like, I had no takedown defense. I never wrestled. So I just figured like, it just takes me down. I'll get my guard and then I'll either put him in a triangle or I'll get back up. And they're like, dude, this guy's a purple belt. And back then, like if you were a purple belt, it was crazy. And the two choices of fights that I had was this guy, or I could have fought Kurt Pellegrino. That was the other fight. And I didn't fight Kurt, thankfully, or he would have mopped me even harder than this guy did. And I just didn't understand underhooks. He would just catch an underhook and pass. And I'd be like, what the fuck? I don't know what's going on. And then I rolled him over. Somehow I reversed him and got on top and was like landing some shots. He's put me in a triangle and I just let myself go out. I was like, I was like, get out of it. But I'd never been like worked by a jiu-jitsu guy where it was like relentless pressure and I just didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know how to like get to a position, or I didn't know anything about lockdown or rubber guard or, half guard back in the day. Like half guard was like a new thing to people. Half guard used to be called half pass. Like it was just a passing position. You weren't like putting work on somebody from half guard. Now, like,
that's when everybody puts work in from half guard.
Yeah. Like that's where you start, that's how you get especially in MMA, like you get knocked down, catch an underhook, half guard. And, just the other day, I forget the guy's name. He's from Australia, I think. Maybe he was from Australia or Britain. But he was going against Shogun, and had him in an electric chair. Shogun took him down. He put the guy in a lockdown, had him in an electric chair. He almost waved him over the other side, but the cage was in the way. But at least he didn't get his ass kicked. He wasn't just laying in half guard. Because like Mark Kerr and Mark Coleman, remember those guys? They would just get into half. Even GSP, he'd get into your half guard and just beat the shit out of you with elbows and punches. And then you couldn't do nothing. But if you had a half guard, you could maybe at least put him in a spot where if he tries to unload on you, you're going to sweep him. He knows that, so maybe it just stalemates. When you can look at the Daniel Cormier versus Anderson Silva. It's another one Jack Slack was talking about on his podcast, where Cormier took him down. And Silva just put him in half guard, just put him in a lockdown and just held him there. He didn't go anywhere. Nothing happened. He didn't electric chair him, but.
Yeah, but you're not getting punched in the face anymore.
Right, exactly. You're not getting worked. So.
That was something that I've noticed about the lockdown in general, because I've been playing it quite a bit, trying to get good at it. And it's like you can control some really big dudes with just that arm and an overhook.
Exactly. Yeah. That's like, the guys a lot of times don't want me to come up with something crazy. And, they'll be like, oh, maybe we got something nuts coming from this position, but it's really just the same stuff and putting work in on it. Like I've been working at John Jock Sweep, which is like I think it's F1. Like I've been working on that since like Eddie taught a seminar in Allentown one time, maybe like 2000, I don't even know. It was like probably 12 years ago, 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he taught was just overhook butterfly sweep, come from the lockdown to the stomp, pull the leg out and then sweep. And that's still like, I will go out to John Jackson. We'll be going over the same thing. And guys will be like, oh man, it's like, and it really is, it's repetition. There's always small tweaks. There's always something different or some new leg lock or some crazy transition. But the general stuff is the general stuff. And you just got to put so much work onto it that you could, if you wanted to, you could sweep Godzilla,
Yeah.
You got to be able to do it.
I was watching something the other day from Eddie Bravo, and he was saying just as he was flowing through, he said, this is heavy bag work.
Yeah.
This is just repetitions. You got to hit your reps.
Yeah, he loves the warm-ups, That's why me and JM were smart and put out a DVD full of all the warm-ups. Now it's changed. A lot of them have changed, but that's a good basis for it. Like our DVD or just even if you don't want to buy that, there's a 10p warm-ups Instagram. Now they don't explain it, but they do show they'll show like a move a day or something.
Hell, there's even an app that has all of the 10 Planet.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So what happens with that is, Grace knows all those moves. And one time, I think it was after EBI, Eddie was like, that's the thing. Like, if Grace loses, it'll be because she made a mental fart or something like that, like a mental mistake. But if she's on, like she's in shape, so we don't have to worry about that. So that's out, as an excuse. So if she loses, it'll be that because she knows so many moves. So it's not like she's going to get tricked. Like I've literally watched between me and JM, we've seen everything. Like there might be small things and like transitions. I might not, some gi transitions that this girl might try to pull on her, but no gi, it's some of that stuff is hard to do. And we've seen so much and Grace knows so many moves. She knows all those warm-ups because she can film it with us. I could be like, do this. And she knows it, and then there are times when I have like a mental, like mind meld with her. Like when I'm teaching the move and she's there and she's on, like, I'm like, hey, we're going to, and I'm showing it and she just knows what I'm going to do. She just has the perfect reaction. There's like we got a bunch of guys that are like that know all the stuff. So it's really hard to trick them. You're not going to trick him. Like Renee, he's like a scientist. He knows all of the warm-ups. Like it's not going to be a move. Oh, I didn't know that. There might be little tweaks and things, but for the most part, like, back in the day, we'd have to figure out in the tournament, like dude's hitting us with deep half. We didn't know what it was called. I'm like, well, every time fucking gets under my leg and like I thought I had a triangle and they're like, yo, that's deep half. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Like
the language.
Nowadays the moves are out there. So now it's just application and like you said, heavy bag work. You just over and over, just like stomp, pull the knee out, grab the wrist, same thing, grab the leg, clear the neck, over and over. So it's in your head. And like our kids, like you could tell when the kids compete because they're freaking out, they're nervous. Some of our little kids are really good and they're like shaking before the match. Then when they get in there, the little girls, and then they get taken down, they just go right into triangle, armbar, everything we drill before the tournament. A week, it's like today let's see what time it is. I got like 15 more minutes. I think I gotta get ready. My kids class on a Wednesday is 4 to 6. It's 2 hours, and that's when I have the most advanced kids in. And then I throw some of the beginner kids in there too. And we do like the first half hour or 40 minutes the first half hour is wrestling and like some warm-ups. Then the second half hour is just drills that they already know. It's nothing spectacular. I'm just rocking a t-shirt. I keep it real relaxed, but they don't even understand that I'm actually drilling it into their head, that I'm just like Frankenstein, like you don't even know, but we're doing, okay, here we go. We're going to do, and like some, high level stuff. Like I might do like hip bump triangle. I might be like, okay, the person's going to stand up and pass, get side control. You're going to frame, get your guard, hip bump, triangle. They put the arm back in, hip bump, you get to mount, escape, guard starts over. And all the little kids are like 10, 8. They know that. And they know that. And they know like 5 or 6 of those drills we came up with. And then every week they're doing that. And then I'm going like, okay, you're going to, they're going to shoot. You're going to grab the guillotine, roll them over. And it's just like things that happen all the time. And I put that in their head. And then they're doing triangle, armbar, triangle. Let's go, triangle, armbar, triangle. One person goes for 5 minutes. And then I'll let them talk, because they're my more advanced kids. I don't need to yell at them to be disciplined or anything like that. They just do the moves 100 times. And I let them, and then the second half, some of the older kids come up, then it gets a little more intense. Then it might be like a new thing where I'm teaching them like the ins and outs of an electric chair, that like kids don't even know, or like I'm showing them like a Darce situation, something real advanced, some real advanced passing position, just to see if they get it, see what sticks. A lot of them, it's like over their head, or they're just, they don't get it. And then the last 40 minutes, we just roll or go live positions.
How
Awesome.
you probably, I don't know if you run into this issue now or not, now that your gym is a little bit larger, but how do you handle mixing the levels of jiu-jitsu, like a beginner, a hobbyist, and then a competitor? Because if you have a smaller gym, you have all of them together.
Yeah. We do have all of them together still, in the main technique classes. Like tonight's another example. I have a advanced class that's usually packed on a Wednesday. I mean, I know it's close to Thanksgiving, but there ain't nothing to do. So I imagine everyone's going to be jiu-jitsu tonight. But what was I going to say? Yeah, like everyone there. Like we'll have like Thor, who's an ADCC 4th place winner, with like, he's rolling in the corner with Ryan, who's like an All-American wrestler, division, whatever, I don't even know. And then in the other side, you'll have like, Nick, who's like 17, who plays video games and is a stoner, rolling with Stan, who, works for AT&T and is a 40-year-old guy who's just, but I think the mentality of what me and JM have been pushing, because we've always been regular guys. Now we're at a level where, we got to a high level of training, but the way we did it was we had to get our guys good enough. Like when we started, we didn't have Eddie Bravo to train with every day, like some of the guys do in California, or I didn't have like 100 guys. We had maybe 20, 25 ragtag guys who just, everyone worked full time, like guys that were in their 40s or, working for a construction company, and other guys like making a drive an hour to train with us, and just random dudes that we picked up from our neighborhood. A couple got like Thad from a wrestling family. Like this guy did a little jiu-jitsu. He did some gi over here. It was like the bad news bears, but we had to get those guys good in order to help ourselves, because rolling with each other, it's like a stalemate all the time. We roll each other a million times. We get those guys real good, and then it just keeps building from there. Now a lot of the guys that stuck with us, I mean, I'm not even the best guy at the school anymore. I'm lower on the totem pole. Some of the guys I can't even do shit to anymore. It takes me everything I got to tap them. It's crazy. Some of the purple and brown belt, like the guys that are like, they're in great shape. But I think it's the way we've been training the guys the whole time, and the kind of mentality that we have. We're like, hey, listen, we need training partners, and I forget which guy said it, but I say to the kids all the time, your training partners are like your toys. If you break them, you got nothing to play with. I didn't come up with that. Someone said that.
Yeah, I like it.
It might have been John Jock or somebody, someone said that, but it's completely true. If you whoop everyone's ass all the time, you hurt everyone, and you're the best guy, obviously, you need to train at your school, and then you also need to go out and set up other trainings. If you're one of the top, if you're like killing everybody and it's a joke at your school, then you need to start training other places. 100%. And I always push that. Thor goes and trains at multiple places because half of the guys can't handle him. He's huge, and he's a beast. He's one of he's top 5 guys in the world at his weight, and he's beating bigger guys, and he's crushing IBJ. I mean, he's got guys to train with, and he's getting everybody else really good. And he's got some big guys over at his school in Allentown, Eric and some of the guys over there, Tom, other IBJJF guys. But dude, I mean, they're like, that's only few and far between. You want to go out. Even when I was going once a week to Daniel Gracie's, I'd go down to Pure on Monday mornings just to train with Andy and Mike over there. Like, I know Jeff and the guys always come up and train with us. Like everybody, you got to do what you got to do. Like you have hard rolls at your gym, but you also got to make moves. But just to go back again, like I know I was getting off on the tangent, but
you're good, man.
Yeah, I want to keep, everybody's got to be able to train together at some point. Like if I'm only teaching once a night, I can't teach a million classes. Like, hey, here's for you guys, here's for these guys. So like, I definitely have to be like, you have to be, I got to be creative the way I teach. Like on Wednesdays, I'll teach moves, but I'm more throwing concepts at them. Like, okay, like this is one thing you can do, and here's a whole bunch of stuff off of it. You're going to work what's your level. Like if we're doing like a single leg X to a leg lock situation, whatever, you might just be trying to figure out how to get to single leg X. But advanced class, like, people know, like it's not a joke. Like the guys here want to train, even the hobbyist guys that like, I'm thinking this guy wants to take it easy. Some of the guys like, we got one guy, he's a assistant heart surgeon, I think, or whatever. And he just like, hey man, I want to If we had a class where they're not getting a sweat in or whatever, we got guys that have families that when they come, they're like, yo, if we don't train, they're like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they want to go. And then some of the other newer guys, they want to take it easier, and that's cool too. So everybody's kind of on their own. That's the cool thing about martial arts. It's up to you. But we're going to push it sometimes, but the guys who are hobbyists, they know, don't come to that one, Sunday training with Thor, because that's when he does his ACC training. I don't even go to that. I'll get killed if I went there. I'll get thrown on my head. I'm not trying to, get murdered.
So whenever you're actually coming up with your lesson plans, is that something that you do on your own, or is it something that you've done previously where you've mapped it out, say, hey, this week's is going to be arm bars, and all month of December, we're going to go over this flow?
Yeah, I think me and JM style is like kind of organized chaos when it comes to that, because like sometimes I'll just, have a hair up my butt, like, yo, I got to show you guys this right now because this is so important. Everyone needs to know this. Or like, for instance, like, JM has a match coming up. So, we're working on specific stuff for that. Last class he was teaching, he was doing stuff that he was working on, himself. So everybody gets the benefit from like, hey, here's what I'm working on right now. So like this week, tonight, there's two things. I think Thor is going to be at our school on Wednesday tonight. I know Grace will be in. And there's a specific situation I saw Maisa Bastos does a lot in her matches when she plays guard, and the way she sits up on a guillotine. So I want to go over that with everybody, just so, not that Grace doesn't know that move, but just I like to keep it fresh in their mind. Like, hey, this is something, so that way it happens in the match. I didn't do my due diligence and watch the match, be like, she's fine, she'll kill this girl. Like, well, hold on. Let's see. I know she said, I don't really know much about Grace's style. I think that's a bold move. We'll see how that works out for her. Because if you don't look into other people, I think that's a mistake. Now, Grace, she doesn't look into anyone. I do it for her, But that's the thing. I just tell her, like, hey, so this week in class, like, we're not doing the warm-ups. We're not doing the 10 Planet warm-ups because we got stuff we got to work on. We got to make sure we do this certain heel hook because, John is going against Wagner. So we're going to rep this 50 times, and then we're going to rep this situation and see what we all come up with. Here's this 8-minute round, get up to a guillotine, see what happens. And then our advanced guys just kind of learn that way. And then there are other times when right now I feel like if we were a battalion, we'd be at war, because every weekend we were like sending troops out, you know what I mean? And like so far,
Dude, Jim is very active.
Yeah, this is crazy. Well, Fight to Win, it's like a perfect storm. Fight to Win came out here, and, we were just like, we're going to jump on these opportunities. So I was down there every weekend working with Seth and all those guys. And then, now just everything happens at once. We had our tournament, so all of our guys are competing. A lot of guys, made the move to train with us from other schools and stuff. So we got those guys involved in it too. So running a competition, and then just every weekend, and then Thor and Grace are at such a level, and JM, that they're getting matches that are big time on big shows. People want to see them compete, win or lose. So now it's like, okay, we got to go to this place. We got to do that, And so it kind of changes up teaching in that aspect, where I have to like make sure like, hey, we need to work on this, or like this guy's going against this. So it's like we're always strategizing. But when it's not war times, and when we're not at war, and it's just kind of regular, I'm hoping after Christmas, after December 11th, Thor has a match like a week after that, like right before Christmas. And after that, I want to just shut it down for like a month, no competitions. And then just because I feel like when you're just going on competitions, you don't have a chance to get good. You got to, and now we can start working on a new game. Not like we're just going to go out there every week with what we already have. We're just going out there with the current arsenal and then hoping it works. But when we get a month or a break, when there ain't shit going on, then we can really add new weapons. Hard to do that when you're constantly trying to stay in shape, make weight, fight every weekend. So.
Yeah, different priorities at that point.
Yeah. So right now I haven't even really been teaching like crazy specific stuff. Yes, but a lot of it has just been like more open training. Like, hey, we're going to start from, here's a situation. The person has a front headlock. Here's a defense. Here's an offense. Let's both battle from this, and like just get the reps in on the spots, and then we're working on stuff. And then fundamentals class, that's always strict technique. Like I teach Monday fundamentals. That's just like I'll look at the warm-ups. In an hour, we can't cover all 4 of those. There's an A, B, C, D, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't do all of those. So if it's an A day, I'll be like, okay, we're going to work on A2. We're going to start with A2. We're going to do a little bit of that, and then we're going to work on a triangle at the end of class, and then that's class. And people like that. Some people just want to stay in that and just learn all the techniques first because they're more mental, and then get their body in shape, and then they'll go to advanced class where we, and then sometimes people were like, oh, man, we didn't even learn anything today. I might go back to fundamentals, man. That's where we learn the basic of the basics, and that's what you really need, So it's like a combo of both. But that one for sure. Like, I don't want anyone to think like, oh, these guys are only just throwing down and killing each other every week. Like Grace and the most advanced guys take, fundamentals class. Some of my best competitors are in there. Some of my best MMA guys just want to learn the basics. Here's how to finish a triangle. Here's how to finish. Because we don't have time to do that in advanced class. I can't be showing 30 dudes that are purple and up how to finish a triangle, But if you're like on the verge and you just want more reps on finishing triangles, that's fundamentals class. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how we're working it now. It's working out really well because people kind of fit in where they want to fit in. They push themselves as hard as they want to be pushed. But if you
it's nice to have a deep roster like you do as well.
Yeah.
So that way you can offer so many. Yeah, that's great.
It's insane. And then with other guys from other schools training with us too, and like people traveling down, and then Thor's Allentown school, and just, being friends with the other local schools too has like helped out. So, and we really push the community to be together. And like I said, friends with the local schools. So we got like, yeah, dude, like Fight to Win was getting every week. They're like, oh, dude, there's like 6 guys on a card. I never even, like my friends that like follow me from other places, I never even heard of some of these dudes. I'm like, bro, and then there's like 4 or 5 other guys and that didn't compete at Fight to Win that would have people would have loved to see them. Like they have cool styles, And then we have Gabe, who's one of our black belts from, he runs 10th Planet Miami. And then he had a cool style. And then all his guys came up and competed. Now he's got a whole slew of a band of people down there. So when it all melts together, man, it's really cool. Like speaking of Thanksgiving, I'm very thankful to be in the situation we are. So just to be even doing this, man, I just love doing this stuff. I just want to keep it going.
Yeah, I think everybody's doing their part too in the community. From my perspective, it's like everybody. I don't want to say everybody, but there's a lot of good vibes going on with you. You have your competition and your show, and you're promoting, LeDuc and his show and other guys and their shows. It's like everybody's just trying to make the game better and get more eyes on it, and give your team the best opportunity and the best platform to show off their skills and their art. Exactly. I love it.
Yeah, 2 things. 1, why would you not want more friends? Because you'll definitely have more help. And then 2, I feel like you cut off half of your money supply. Like if you want to work and actually do business, you're pissing off half of the people that will never do business with you. So there's that too.
Yeah, definitely. But hey, we're coming up on time. I think you got to go, right?
Yeah, I got to go in like 5 minutes.
Dude, totally fine. I want to be respectful of your time. We'll shut it down. And,
I'd love to come back. I'll do it again, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. I would love to have you back on, and I'll be tuning in this weekend to your fighters out there. And
this weekend,
this
weekend is UFC Fight Pass. It's on Sunday. I have no idea what time it is because it's in Mexico, so we might want to look into that. It's in Cancun, but yeah, that's this Sunday. And then 2 weeks later on Flow Grappling is Thor versus Wagner Rocha and Grace versus Maisa Bastos. So that is a true who's number 1 match because Grace is number 2 and she's 18 and it's crazy. I just saw she's the youngest ever American female black belt, which is crazy. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, and then Maisa Bastos is from Brazil, and she's a black belt, and she's maybe only like 23 or 24. So, and she's ranked number 1. So that's a real who's number 1. And then after that, hopefully, like I said, we might have got 1 or 2 more things coming up. But then, shut it down Christmas time.
Yep. Very good.
But thank you. Thanks so much, man. This goes up on YouTube and everything, or? Yeah,
it'll be up on YouTube. It's nice. Live streaming on Twitch right now, and then it'll also be anywhere that you get your podcast, Apple, or wherever. It's all over the place.
Nice. Yeah, that's why I saw it on YouTube too. That's what I was watching. So, thanks again, man. And I appreciate you doing stuff like this. Just helps more people like me get the word out on, your own stuff. It helps business-wise, and it just helps. It helps everything, really, man. We just got to keep this stuff going. So anything you want me to promote, just let me know. Appreciate it.
Same on your end. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir. You too. Take care.
Enjoy.
Peace.
So the journey has begun. If you guys listening to our content today had any kind of value or you were moved in any way, please feel free to subscribe, pass it on, let everybody know that these two guys are the truth. They're out here just trying to do good things to make good people.